Good morning, everybody. Thank you for attending our Dynamics 365 marketing webinar today. This session's been created in response to your feedback from the October release session. So we recognise there's lots of interest in this solution. My name's Emma Bannister. I'm Head of Customer Success here at Incremental Group. And I'm here to co-host this session with my colleague Didi, who'll introduce herself shortly. Just to give you a little bit of background, Dynamics 365 marketing's been available for some time now. There had been some pricing and functional challenges with the product initially, but these have now been resolved with huge leaps in functionality and a pricing model that we believe that you'll all be interested in. Just to share our agenda for today then, there you go. We can't actually show everything today, but we will consider future sessions if there are some specific interests that you have. And please, can you stay on mute during the session? That would really help. And we'll do a Q&A at the end. And if we can use the chat window to do that, I'll work with Didi to ask questions that she can answer for us. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Didi to introduce herself.
My name is Dilyana Radulova, and I'm a customer engagement consultant with Incremental Group. I've been working with CRM systems of different sorts for the past 6 years, and last year has been mainly dedicated to marketing and all of the peripherals like Forms Pro or Customer Insights. In my spare time, I try to get involved as much as possible with the lovely marketing community we have out there. I write a lot of blogs. I take part in different Microsoft Dynamics forum events, and I speak at different marketing events. So if you have interest in marketing and you haven't got involved with the community, I would strongly encourage you to do so. And if you need a starting point, drop us a message and we'll send you some of the incremental blogs as a starting point. Okay, so enough about me, let's talk about marketing. What we thought to do was put a slide together just to give you an overview of what marketing could do, because as Emma was saying, there is really no way to show you everything in 1 hour. So I just want to talk you through just so that you can see it and you can ask us questions if you want to go into some of them into more detail. We have split them into 5 different categories. So from the data one, I want to talk you through segments because that's a quite big one. Segments is just a way to group customers or contacts together based on any grouping that you define. So it could be people who live in a certain area. It could be contacts that work for a specific company, or it could also be behavior. So it could be what emails they have opened, what links they have clicked, or what websites they have visited. We can also go one level deeper, so we can have a very complex targeting and segmentation. So what we could do is all of the people who live in that city, work for that company, but haven't opened an email in the past 3 days. Okay, and then for the next one, probably the biggest one to talk you through is behavioral insights. And why this is important? It's important because if you already have a CRM instance, you have already seen the dashboards and charts, you know you have created them, you can create them yourself. Behavioral insights is very similar. It's the visual representation of all of the data that you start accumulating after you start using marketing. So again, it's website visits, email clicks, it could be events, registration, it could be anything to do with the behavior of your customers. Lead scoring, and probably here is a good point to mention. I'll talk about leads, but it could be prospects, it could be potential customers. I just need you to use your imagination and translate it to whatever the right word for your business might be. So lead scoring is kind of similar to segments in a way that we can use the same criteria. What we do is we define a criteria, and for each criteria, we give a lead a specific points, or we take away points. So what we could do is we can give them 5 points if they stay in London, but we take away 20 points if they have blocked our email, because it probably means they're not that interested. And what that means is we can define what we call a pre-sales ready threshold, and when they go over that threshold, the lead automatically gets passed to the sales team or to whatever the appropriate department might be for further nurturing. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Moving on, campaigns. Campaigns is where it gets fun. So customer journeys is the automation. We define the journey we'll take our customers on, and that's where we define all of our touch points with them, be it a marketing email or triggers, so we can do different things depending on what they do and how they interact with us. And I'll show you a few of them later on. Subscription centers, another big one with GDPR in mind. That's the ability we give people to update their data and all of the information we have against them themselves. So what happens is they get a link in every single email we send them. When they click it, they get a page with the pre-populated data we have for them. And then when they update it, that gets updated with the system, and it makes sure that we have the most recent version of the data in our system. Events, another big one, and I'll show you it in the second scenario we'll see today. Dynamics marketing has a very strong event management capabilities, and it helps you throughout the whole event lifecycle. It can help with the session management, session tracks, passes, all of the guests' logistics, so hotel registration, room layout in the event itself. As I was saying, it can help throughout the whole event lifecycle. Okay, and communication, marketing forms, marketing pages, another big one. What that does, it helps with subscribing new people, for example, for a newsletter or for a marketing list. What we can do is we can make a form which gets an information, whatever information you might need to create a contact, and we can either embed that in a marketing page, which is natively hosted in the marketing app on the portal you get, or if you have a very strong presence in your website and you want to drive more people to your website, then we can embed that marketing form on your website as well. And when people register, the form has a connection to your system. So what that does is it will check if the record already exists in your system. If it does, it will update it with the new set of information we have received. And if it doesn't exist, it will create a new one. Social posts, it's another good one. So out of the box, Dynamics Marketing has an integration with Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, which means you can post to all three of them automatically from the system without having to leave marketing. What you can also do, and I'll show you that, is you can schedule posts. So let's say you have more time on Friday night, you can craft your post on Friday, you can schedule it to go out on Monday morning, and you don't even have to physically be in front of your machine on Monday morning for the post to go online. Forms Pro, another one we'll see, it's a lovely survey capability which integrates with your customer journeys. So you can add surveys as part of your customer journeys, and then you can have different triggers, and you can make a decision what branch or what path to send your customer on, depending on what responses you get as part of your survey. Marketing emails, exactly what you would expect, a very simple drag and drop designer that lets you create your emails. The interesting thing worth saying for the email is dynamic content, because what you can do is you can design one email, but let's say you have two customers, one interested in networking, another interested in training. Because you have that information for them, you can display a different section or a different picture or a different block of information in your email depending on that information you have against them. A/B testing, we all know what it is. It's just worth saying that marketing can do it as well. And I just want to spend a bit more time on AI because that's probably my most favorite part of the system. As part of marketing, now you get 3 artificial intelligence functionalities. And I'll show you as much as I can. Spam score is to do with when you craft your marketing email. What you can do is you can calculate the spam score for it. And what that does is it gives you a score between a 0 and 100. The lower, the better. And what that gives you is the confidence that your email is not going to get blocked as spam before it even reaches your customer's inbox. Smart scheduling, another really handy one. What that does is, let's say you have a customer called Bob. You have sent him a few emails and he has opened every single one at 9 o'clock on Monday morning. So what that feature does is it analyzes the data it has for Bob and it sends the next email you want to send him at a time that it considers the most beneficial or the best for Bob. Segment boost. So for segments, we said it's a group of people grouped by a certain criteria. What that does is you define, let's say, a 20% threshold. And what that does is, let's say in your segment, you have 100 people. And if you say you want your segment to be boosted by another 20%, the algorithm will scan your database, your system, and it will try to find the best 20% or 20 more contacts in our case that match that criteria and expand it and send them on the journey as well. Okay. So again, for the features, if you had any questions or if you want to go into a bit more detail for any of those, please do that in the chat window and we'll go over them after the session. So that's what you're seeing just now is our first scenario. The way we have structured the demo is we have broken it down into 3 scenarios, and each one of them is based on what we call a user story. So I'll read out the user stories just so that we all know what we are looking at. So the first one is to do with how to nurture more demand and how to onboard our new, be it customers or members. So as a marketing manager, I would like to onboard our newly registered members by sending them on a welcome campaign, and depending on their interests, send them targeted promotional materials. I would like to be able to design emails, newsletters, and any other marketing material. I want to be able to add dynamic content to the email with changes based on the data we have stored for each customer. I want to be able to segment our members based on geography, workplace, or qualification. I then want to be able to build complex, highly targeted segments. As a marketing manager, I want to be able to quickly send ad hoc campaigns, and with GDPR in mind, I want to give all members access to a subscription center, the ability to change their personal details, as well as opt in or opt out from any of our mailing lists themselves. Okay, so now onto the demo. What we see here is a customer engagement instance. If you guys are using a CRM system already, you probably have seen one of those before. So this is our instance, and that's my marketing app installed onto it. And what we have here is a list with all of the leads we have in the system. For my scenario, I want to introduce you to Mario Jr. and Bob Sr. So both of them are customers we have. And what we know about them is we have their age and we have their qualification level. So Bob, he is a bit older and he's very qualified. Mario, a bit younger and not that qualified. What we know is people who are usually earlier in their career would be more interested in training because they want to take their career further, and people who are more senior, they have done their fair bit of training already, so they would be more interested in networking opportunities. So with this in mind, we don't want to send them on the same journey. They're different people, so we want them to have a different experience. So let's see how we can do that and how we can personalize the experience they get. So I just want to walk you through Bob's profile. So the first thing I want us to have a look at is a lead score. So as we were saying earlier, lead scoring is a model that we define, and what we get is a score associated with each lead. So in his case, it's 40. And if we have a look at the scoring model, again, that's just an example to give you an idea. You can define your own one that makes more sense to your business and your in your system. What I have done here is I want to give my lead 10 points if they have interacted with us through email. If they have clicked any links, I'll give them 20 points. If they have a specific qualification, 5. And if they have attended any events, 30. And what I was saying earlier, we can define a sales ready score. So our leads would be going through the journey and accumulating points. When they get more than 50 points, they automatically get passed to the sales team or whatever the department might be. Okay, and we can use lead scores for segmentation as well. So that brings us to the next thing I want to show you. So what we're seeing here is a customer journey, and a customer journey is what defines the journey that we'll take our customer on and all of the touch points we want to have with them. Each customer journey starts with a segment. In my case, and again, this could be anything that makes sense to your business, but in this case, my segment is all of the people who we think are interested in networking, and that would be based on age and qualification level. So because Bob is a bit more senior, he's interested in networking, so he would join that segment. And the next thing he would do is he would jump onto the next tile. So what he would receive is an email that might look like this. As you can see, so that's a marketing email we have designed. As you can see, it's got our logo, it's got the name, so it's personalized. We can add any piece of information we have against Bob in the system. We can add pictures, and from a GDPR point of view, quite important, we have an unsubscribe link, and we have the physical address of the organization, which is a legal requirement. So we want to have that. So let's say Bob has received the email, he scrolls through, he really likes our event, so he clicks on the link. What that might take him to is what we see here, which is a marketing page. A marketing page is a page natively hosted on the portal that comes as part of your marketing application. Again, you can design them any way you like. You can have your logo, you can have your branded colors, you can have different sections, you can have pictures. Yeah, you can design them, and it's a drag and drop designer, the same one that you would use for your marketing email. So it's quite easy to use. So Bob has been scrolling through this. He really likes our page, so he wants to know more. The next bit he gets to is what we see here, which is a marketing form. Marketing form is a form we design. We can put any fields we want on it, and it has a link to the backend, to your database. So when he signs up, what that would do is it would go to your system and check if Bob already exists. If they do, they would update their details with the new set of information we have here. And if they don't, it would create a new record. We can also have marketing lists. So that's what I have put here to show you. And what that does is it gives them the ability to opt in to any or all of our marketing lists. Okay, so let's say he has done that. He has signed up because he does want to know more. So back to our customer journey. He has joined the segment, he has received the email. The next thing we want to know is, has he registered? And if he has, then what we could do, and again, that's just an example, we can send him an email with his e-tickets because he has just registered for our event that he saw on the webpage. Then if we want to take that even a bit further, we can check, has he opened the email? If he has, then that's fine because he has received his tickets and he's all set and ready to go. If he hasn't, what we could do is we could create an activity for an agent to post his tickets to him and just say, we thought you might like this on paper, which adds that nice personal touch to the interaction. On a completely different side, so Mario, he joined the segment because he's interested in training, and even when he's just a record in our system, like Bob, he would have a completely different experience. So, and again, just an example, what we could do is he could receive a completely different email, and then we can check, has he clicked any links, and we can have a different behavior depending on whether he clicked links or he didn't. Okay, and what I'll try to do is I'll try to finish every scenario with an AI functionality, because I told you I think it's a really powerful one. So the first one I want us to have a look together is the spam score. What we'll see here is a marketing email, and we have designed it, we have crafted it, so we think we are ready to send it. The last thing we want to do for our sanity and to make sure is we have that preview. So it has the normal functionality you would expect. You can preview it on different devices, but what you can also do is see that spam score button, and that gives you the score between 0 and 100. So our one, 26, the lower the better, which means we are quite safe to send that email, and it's very unlikely to be marked as spam. What you can also do is you can have a look at the suggestions. So it gives you a few ideas what else you might want to change to make it even better. Right, okay. So this is what we were going to have a look at as part of our first scenario. So the second one is slightly different, and it's to do with event management. So again, we have the user stories. I'll read them out loud just so that we know what we are looking at. As a marketing manager, I want to be able to organize both on-site events and webinars. I would like to invite our members to register, pay for the event, as well as see information about the session and the speakers on the event portal. I want to easily design anonymous and personalized surveys, which I can then send out on. And basically here it could be any trigger with your CRM. Just an example, I have given you case resolution after a complaint or to members who have attended an event. When feedback is received, I would like to then follow up appropriately depending on the survey responses. And finally, depending on the interactions or the behavior of the members, I would like to trigger specific actions. All right, so we jump to the system. What we see here is our event portal. The way that works is we design and build our event within the marketing app, and any information we put there propagates to our portal. So as you can see, I have my event name, I have my date, I have the building, and I also have a picture I have chosen, which could be your logo, or it could be anything branded that you need it to be. We can also have different pictures for the sponsors. For my event, I have created 5 different sessions. My event has only one day, but if it was across multiple days, they would show up here. Clicking on a session gives you a bit more information about the person doing it. And you also get a nice speakers tab with different pictures for different speakers. And clicking on the speaker gives you information about their name, what they do, and what session they're doing. It can also have a biography and their social media. Okay, so the next thing to show you is session tracks. A session track is a way to guide your customers what sessions might be of interest to them. So as an example here, I have created 2. I have an all-day session track, which has all of my 5 sessions. And I know some people can't make the afternoon, so I have given them the option to have a morning pass. So this is all of the sessions in the morning. And then that ties to a pass. So we also define passes. as an example here, I have defined two passes. I have a morning pass, which has all of my session track sessions, and then I have a VIP all day one, which has all of the sessions. So once we have gone through that and we are ready to register, clicking register takes us to a screen that looks like this, where Bob or any other customer can register themselves. This bit here is out of the box, so we always ask for that information. And what we have at the bottom, so where I have asked, are you attending for work, is what we call a custom field. So you can ask as many custom questions as you want. And why is this useful? So in our case, for example, I might want to send a survey and get feedback only from the people who have attended for work, because I might think they're more serious and I might be more interested in their feedback. And then last but not least, we have the CAPTCHA, which from a security point of view makes sure that only humans register and you don't get spammed with a fake registration. And what I also want to show you, so what you see here is a slightly different version of the same event. So, and how is that different? So again, we have the same sessions, but what we can also do is we don't have to have session tracks. We can give people the choice to choose, or the freedom to choose their session themselves. So what that does is it gives them a session card, and then they can add whatever sessions they want to their session card themselves. And again, when they have done that and they click register, that takes them to the same screen that you already saw for the event registration. We have the custom questions, and we also have a summary of the different sessions they have chosen. Right, so hopefully that gives you a flavor of how we can manage events. So on the other side, back to our marketing application, let's say Bob has attended the event and he has attended it for work, so we want to know what he thought. The fact that he has attended the event means that he would join our attend for work segment on this customer journey that we have defined. But we don't want to send him the email right away while he's still at the event. What we want to do is, for example, we want to give them a few days just to reflect. So we put a scheduler with 3 days timeout, and then we send him a survey. I want you to hold this thought because I'll show you surveys in a minute. But we sent him the survey, and then what we could do is we could do different things depending on what feedback we get. Let's say we receive a positive feedback. What that means is everything is good. So we wait a month and then we invite him to our next event next month. But if we receive negative feedback, that means something has gone wrong. So what we could do is we could schedule a call with an agent and Bob and make sure we get to the bottom of it and try to sort that relationship. Okay, so I promised to show you surveys. For surveys, what I want to show you is Forms Pro. Forms Pro is another product, Microsoft product, that lets you create surveys yourself. So as you can see, this is the survey. So Bob might receive a survey that looks like this. As you can see, again, you can add your logos, you can add pictures. If you don't like the gray and you think it's a bit boring, you can change that. And you can have different question types. You can embed pictures as well, just to make your survey a bit more fun and interactive. You can have a Net Promoter Score questions. And not only that, but you can also have logic. So for my Net Promoter Score questions, let's say for 10, middle of the road, it's fine. But if we get a 9 or a 10, what we can do is we can display an extra question and ask what did we do well, just so that we can do it next time. So this is the survey that the customer will get. From your point of view, you get a portal that looks like this, and that's where you can design your survey, or if you wanted to add more questions, you can. All you need to do is you click on the plus, and that gives you the different question types that you could be adding. And as you can see, it's super easy. It's just drag and drop. And then after you have sent it, what you get is you get a nice dashboard summarizing what has happened. So you can see how many invitations we have sent. You can see how many responses you have got. You get an NPS score for your survey, and you also get a sentiment analysis. And I want to go into this a bit more detail because I think it's pretty exciting. What that does is it analyzes the language used for all of your text questions within your survey. So remember how we ask, what did we do well? So if they have said the session was really good, it would give us a positive sentiment because it would pick up on the word good. And the other way around, if it was bad, it would give us a negative sentiment. So that's a nice AI feature that you get for free as part of the product out of the box. What you also get is those little insight cards. And why is this handy? Because it tries to identify patterns that you might not normally see if you're just looking at your survey responses in a spreadsheet, let's say. Okay, and coming to the end of our second scenario, so again, we'll finish on an AI feature. I want to talk you through that smart scheduler and what makes it smart. So remember Bob and all of the emails we have sent him, he has opened on a Monday morning. So what we can do is after we get him to wait for 3 days, then what we do is we define a window. So I can define a 1-day window, and then the algorithm would calculate the optimal time for Bob personally within that window and send the survey or the email at that specific point in time. So that's what makes it smart. And it gets better with time. The more information you have, the better and the more accurate it gets. So event management, I probably should have started the scenario with this one. So what you get here is a QR code for the survey that I just showed you, because I was thinking if you're anything like me and you want to be hands-on, what you can do is you can scan that QR code and you could be looking and have the survey on your own mobile and have a look at how it looks like. Okay, so just a summary of Forms Pro. I have already talked you through, but just as a summary, it's a survey capability tool. And we saw it's really easy drag and drop interface to create our surveys. And the good thing about it is it comes as part of your normal customer engagement license. And what you get is 2,000 survey responses per tenant per month. If you need more, you can buy them in batches of 2,000. And I have given you the link if you wanted to read up more on it. Right, and that brings us to our last final scenario, which is to do with putting it all together and measuring engagement. So again, I'll read up the user stories. I want to use social media to direct people to our website. I want to be able to track clicks on the link as well as track who clicked the link so that we have a full picture of this person. I want to see the activity reflected in their interaction timeline, and I want to see the members' insights, which include a 360-degree view with all information about their behavior, their survey invitations, survey responses, and detail of any activity that has occurred. The way that looks like in the system. What we see, so for this scenario, we'll start off with a social post. As we said, Dynamics Marketing has an integration for Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And what we see here is a nice calendar view of all of the posts that we have either posted or scheduled. Because as you can see, we have one in the future. So if we look at that one, what we can see is, let's say I have more time now, so I have crafted my post. I can add pictures to it as well, and I have said I want it to go online on the sec, so I have scheduled that. And what you see here is a link. So this is what we call a redirect URL. So ultimately, this will go to our incremental news. So let's say we have a news we want to advertise and we want to drive more traffic through this. So what we would do is we would add a redirect URL, and I will show you how this one looks like in a moment. So when people click the link, that's where they would go. They would go to our Incremental Group website. But what we do, the idea with redirect URLs is it's like a middleman. So this is the link that we can track, and setting this up gives us quite a few insights that are quite fun to look at. So for my redirect URL, I have a heat map, and I can see where people across the world click that link from. Not only that, but we also get a nice timeline, which gives you all of the people who have visited or clicked on that link. When it loads in a moment, we'll see how we get a few anonymous ones. There we go. As you can imagine, you can't expect, you have posted that on social media, you can't expect every single person who clicks that link to be somebody the system can recognize. So we'll have quite a few anonymous ones, but if the system can recognize it, we get the contact name against it as well. And to put it all together, I want to show you how that looks like on the other side. So on the contact side, because it's worth saying here, every single entity, every single marketing thing you get as part of your marketing app comes bundled up with that insights tab, be it marketing email or a contact or a lead or a scoring model. And what that gives you is graphs and a visual representation of the information that's relevant to that specific thing. So for example, here for contacts, we get a timeline, which is interaction, all of the interactions that have happened with that person at a glance. We also can have a pie chart broken, which has a breakdown of all of the different interactions they have had. And we have all of them split into different sections. So if they have attended any event, so for example, he registered for an event on that date, and email open times is what the artificial intelligence algorithm would use. That again works better if you have more data. But yeah, it shows you when have they opened most their emails, and when are we likely to get a reaction from them. And then it also, if we have sent them enough emails, it tries to predict what's the best time to send them the next email. And one more thing I want to show you the insights from the email point of view. So what we get, that's a marketing email. And again, I'm to that insights tab that gives us the information about everything that has happened with the email. We could filter on a customer journey if we wanted to see how only one of our campaigns have done, or we can have a look for that email in general. We get how many have been delivered, unique opens, unique clicks, bounces, unsubscribe. You get the response over time. I need you to keep in mind that no data, especially demo data, is not perfect, but you get quite good picture of what has happened with that email. You have the links, you have again the map with the clicks. And another cool thing I want to show you is the click map. So what we are seeing here is a preview of the email, and we have all of our links marked as this. And then the more the link has been clicked, the more colors we get, so that we get a good idea of how people have interacted with our email. And then I haven't done any A/B testing with that email, but if we have, it would show up here. And this was the end of our third scenario. So if I jump to the presentation, single version of the truth, this is the scenario I just showed you. And we probably should spend some time talking about licensing. So jumping onto the next slide. So the licensing model for marketing is slightly different to the other ones that you might have been used to before. So it's not licensed based on how many agents or users access the system. You can have as many people accessing the system as you need. It's licensed based on what we call a marketing contact. And this is how many marketing contacts you have stored in your database. But this is not all of the contacts you have in your database. Let's say you can have 1,000 contacts, but if you only engage in marketing activities with 2 of them, only those 2 would count towards your marketing contacts quota. And I have given you a list with what counts as a marketing activity. So it's either emails, landing pages, forms, LinkedIn integration, events, or surveys. And just to reiterate, contacts that you never engage in marketing activities will not be counted as part of your D365 marketing license. And now, if we have any questions, we'll be more than happy to take them.
Okay, so there's a few questions online, and I'll just add to that point on licensing as well, that I suppose a majority of people on the call today may already have a Dynamics product, and there is a marketing attach solution that gives you some financial benefit to bringing marketing also into your overall architecture there for Dynamics. So first question then, Didi.